It's not too often you get to interview an individual who, unbeknownst to them, has had a profound impact on your life. Jared, Brendan, and myself were afforded such an opportunity this week as Tony Horton joins us on this week's episode of the Fit Men Movement podcast. Tony offers us some insight on how he got started with health and fitness and ultimately Beachbody, some of the ups and downs he has experienced in his own journey, as well as how he's been involved with the military for several years that ultimately led to the creation of a fitness program. Our chat with Tony was awesome, and I know that you'll definitely learn a few things about him that you probably didn't know. By the end of the hour, you'll be fired up and inspired to bring it. Let's get to the episode.
You're listening to the Fit Men Movement podcast, your source for everything fitness, health, and guy related. Now here's your hosts, Chris, Brennan, and Jared. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fit Men Movement podcast, episode number 27. And we are absolutely excited and pumped to have our special guest, Tony Horton, on tonight. It is going to be a phenomenal call. I cannot wait to talk to this guy. It is such kind of a weird thing because we almost feel that we know him in regards to all the workouts we've done with P90X, X2, X3, 22-minute hardcore, and you see this guy for every day for months and months, and you feel like you know him, and then, but he doesn't know us. But before we get into that, let me introduce my co-host because I kind of went on a tangent there. Sorry, Chris and Brendan, boys. Before we get Mr. Horton on the line here, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm super excited. I can't wait to chat with Tony. I've actually met him a couple different times. I'm sure he has no idea who I am.
I'm gonna second that. I'm in the same exact boat.
He meets tons and tons of people, but I'm really looking forward to this interview with him. And we've got some questions lined up. Who knows if we'll get through all of them, because I know he likes to chat. But if we get through half of this stuff, that'll be a really cool interview.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is built for interviews. I mean, he's done stand-up comedy, so he knows how to talk. He knows how to stand up on stage and lead a crowd and a group and feel the energy. So I'm very much looking forward to feeling that energy and hearing what he has to say.
Oh, and Happy New Year's, by the way.
Yeah. Happy New Year's. Carrie Fisher has passed away.
Sorry to hear.
It's been And so is her mom, like the next day, which is tragic.
Yeah, that was in 2016. So 2017, fingers crossed. Far so good.
Yeah, but I read though that like they have everything lined up and ready to, like they are already adjusting the script for episode 1, 2, 3, 9.
And I don't remember. Right? Was it one of you guys that said it, or did my girl tell me? I think there's some type of like clause in the contract where if Carrie Fisher can't make whatever the movie was, like Disney gets $50 million.
What?
Yeah, it was some type of
no, I don't know anything about that.
Some type of like backup.
That's an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how true that was, but
And
interesting.
And Brennan, you are like this Saturday starting P90X Live, are you not?
Yes.
Oh man, what perfect timing!
I know, right? Out of all people to have on the call. It will be very exciting to hear what he has to say. I definitely want to ask him a question or two and just kind of get his perspective coming from the master of the guy that literally invented the damn program. To now being able to host my own class and have people come join me, and I've had a lot of people say they're super excited about it, and it'll be interesting. I mean, you start influence one person at a time, and before you know it, I mean, I would have a dream of doing a workout with 10,000 people sitting in front of me and whatever it is. So time will tell.
And Chris, do you have any specific questions that? Yeah, you are going to rock it, man. I know you're going to rock it.
I appreciate it. Thank you,
Chris. Do you have any questions specific that you're looking forward to asking Tony?
I think the X2 program has always been one of my favorites, and so I'm curious to find out kind of all the programs, if that or what of the kind of P90X brand, if you will, of those programs he really preferred or enjoyed creating. So I mean, I think that's going to be one of my takeaways from the interview.
Okay, perfect.
And I think not to toot our own horn, since we already did a podcast on that specifically. But for those of us who kind of listened from day one and now being at episode 27, this is just one of those lessons in life, right? It's, you set a goal of whatever you want to do, and you just keep going and going and going until you finally hit it. And I know we've mentioned this before. One of our biggest things was if we could have a super trainer on. I mean, first it started with Joel, and then now to get Tony on the line, and it'd be awesome to see if he could even hook us up with one of the other big ones. Sean, Shalene, anybody. So we'll let's see how that plays out.
Yep.
Yeah, I wonder if they like chat with each other, or like how they interact.
Yeah, one step at a time. One step at a time. I'm excited for this one. So let's get it going. Let's pass it over to the interview, and we'll get started.
All right, let's bring him on.
Awesome.
All right, we are on here tonight with the one, the only Tony Horton. Tony, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and chatting with us. We are so excited to have you on today.
Well, gentlemen, it's my thrill, my pleasure, my gift to be with you. This is my New Year's resolution mega gift. I'm just trying to be funnier than Joel Freeman. That's it. My goal is to kick the crap out of Joel Freeman. I mean,
oh, you know what? Do me a favor. Hashtag Joel in this later and let him listen to it. And he's going to be like, that's it. We're going for podcast round 2. I can't be out.
Yeah, he doesn't have a chance, man. I'm a veteran. I don't even look at it. I'm bailing right now. I'm a hatchback.
We know you're funnier, Tony. That's okay.
But yeah, thank you. That's all I needed. If somebody has to stroke my ego, I appreciate it.
It must
Don't
be good
crush
to know,
your
though.
face.
Yeah, it must be good to know that if the fitness industry ever fails, that you can go back into theatrics or anything like that instantly.
They were miming.
Yeah. I'll go back to the pier, the Santa Monica Pier, and do mime for an hour and a half for $23.50.
Oh,
yeah,
that sounds lovely.
Well, it's a step. You know what I mean? It's a step on the ladder to success. Right?
Well, and you know what? Let's get right into that because we want to take 5 minutes. It's funny because when we were talking with Joel, not to go back into that one, but it seems when you're in Beachbody, okay, because we're all Beachbody coaches, and you think that everybody else knows everything about Beachbody. You think that everybody, and I mean, I'm sure they do for of course Tony Horton, but everyone else assumes that everybody knows everything about Beachbody. So why don't we just take 5 minutes? And I know, Tony, you've probably said this story 1,000,001 times, but can you just say to our listeners who you are and exactly how you got started with Beachbody, from stand-up comedy to being a trainer for an executive producer for Fox, and then your trips down to California, everything like that. Can you just sum that up for us?
How long is this podcast? You got 2.5 days for that story, man.
We can do it.
We can do that. You have an hour.
Well, no, I mean I've told that story 100 different ways. Not that the pieces are just smaller because of time constraints, but yeah, I mean I was born in a van down by the river.
So far, so good.
So far, everybody knows that's true. I was a New England kid, and I moved 6 times before 5th grade because my father was in the military and changed jobs. So it was really kind of rough. I had an awesome speech impediment as a kid called cluttering, which was not stammering or stuttering. I had my own very specific speech issue. Yeah. I mean, I kind of I researched it later in life, and I realized what it was. It's just, kids are really insecure, and so sometimes they speak so quickly that the words just pop up on top of each other, and it just comes from insecurity and fear that people don't really want to hear what you have to say. So you feel as if that you need to say everything quickly so you can kind of get out of their way, And that was a rough start because, that usually means because I was also a small kid and I was a C- student, and partly because we moved so much. So new teachers, new friends, new neighborhoods, it created a state of insecurity. So I was an easy target, when I was younger. I mean, the lunch money stolen, beat up at the bus stop, shoved in the locker, picked last for every team except for dodgeball. What's up with that? And easy target, right? And so, it really makes for a lot of insecurity, fear, depression, anxiety, and at times a sense of wanting to sort of not be on the earth anymore. With that said, you sort of survive and you find a couple of good friends and you hang out with them, and then you get your own little tribe going, and then you feel like you're not as bad off as you were when you were in elementary school and junior high school. In high school, things got a little bit better for me. I mean, I was on the football team, but I never played. I played for like maybe 10 seconds. The score was 104 to 3 or something. They let me in for a tackle. But during the week, I was Rudy. I was Rudy all the way. I watched that movie and I bawled my eyes out. That's me. That was Notre Dame. I'm talking about Trumbull High School Eagles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we were one of the top rated high schools in the country. So I was just on a really good team with a lot of good players. So that's partly why I didn't. I just hung around because I wanted to have my ass beat every Monday through Thursday.
Bonding.
Trumbull Eagles. Did you not wear that shirt in one of your workouts?
I sure did.
I'm sure.
I thought, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Sure did. But as the story, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that eyeballing my shirts during the work. That means you're actually doing my workouts. Thank you.
Watching.
Yeah, just sitting back, smoking a cigarette, watching the show.
Yeah, I should be doing this.
But, after high school, I went out to URI and I did a weightlifting class there, and I really learned a lot. It was just basic kinesiology and exercise science and learning about, how many reps, how much weight, watching the whole progression process, tracking your progress. And I got a lot of confidence from that. Back then, for me, at that age, it was all about ego and aesthetics, which I think, unfortunately, is still the case for a lot of people, regardless of their age now. You know what I mean? And so I'm constantly fighting that paradigm, which I find to be limited, and most people would know once they learn better. And then I went out to California. The whole lifestyle out here was about training and exercising. It's sunny out here, 332 days out of the year. So people are at the track, they're at the beach, they're playing volleyball and full court basketball and, and touch football. And there's gyms on every corner, unlike the East Coast in the 70s when, the gym was at the local high school or at college, but you wouldn't find an aerobics gym, at least not in the 70s. So, California was way ahead of everybody else when it came to that. And I just fell into the culture because those are the people I wanted to meet. That was the tribe I wanted to hang out with. And at the same time I was acting, or at least attempting to, but I was surviving and waiting tables and doing mime at the pier or in Westwood. I literally, for those of you who haven't heard this story yet, I would be out of money, $0. Couldn't ask my parents for any more, and of course back in those days, a phone call was like $90 for 10 seconds. So you had to write letters by hand on paper and stick it in an envelope and lick a stamp and send it to the East Coast and wait for the same thing to come back the other way. And you're asking for like $124 for a belt sander so you can build a table for your dining room. You know what I mean? And so it was just, it feels like it was a million years ago. But that's how I survived. Anyway, I was a go-go dancer at Chippendales for a summer, making 23. Yeah, man.
Really?
I had my dolphin shorts, tank top, Capizio shoes, and tiger socks. Sexy.
There has to be pictures of this somewhere.
None.
I'm sure there are.
Yes. There has to be.
You are
Funny, I've never seen that in any of the marketing material.
Yeah, you wouldn't know. No, it's just for you three. You should
no, every fan that we have. Thank you, Tony.
Yes, for you three and your billions of fans. So anyway, as the story goes, so I had this. I was working out. I wasn't training anybody yet. I was one decent job that I got was a production assistant at 20th Century Fox. So I was on the lot, feeding cats, making coffee, delivering scripts, doing what anybody ever wanted me to do at this production company. And at that time, I had an agent. My agent was saying, you need to start working out more consistently so your body sort of looks good all the time. So when I send you out on an audition, you'll look the part. You'll look like your photo in your headshot. And so I took it seriously because that really meant a lot to me. And then my boss at Fox was noticing, and it was very stressful over there. Trying to make a movie is not an easy thing to do. So I was training him. First client ever. Had no idea what I was doing. I was just duplicating the random crap I was doing at the Sports Connection in Santa Monica. But he got in great shape partly because he was consistent, and I was always trying to come up with new ways to train him. You know what I mean? Trying to I wouldn't call it muscle confusion yet, but it was a form of that. And then then I thought, well, maybe I can make a living of this. And so I started training some secretaries on the lot, and then I met some other people. I made business cards, and I handed them to people, and they called me back, and I went to their house, and I trained them. Like, whoop, I have a job. Nice. And so I didn't have to do the mime at the pier, and I didn't have to do the go-go dancing, and I didn't have to build the tables anymore. And I had this one thing, but I also had an acting career. And I worked for Nordic Track for a while in Minneapolis, up there, where they smoked open a rope in the pulp up there, Jared,
We were going to cut and splice that and play that 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Up there, I went up to land of 10,000 lakes, And I worked with Nordic Track, and I really, I got my chops there, being on a camp. Because because there were actors and they were, good on camera and they could, walk and hit their mark and read the teleprompter, but they didn't look the part. It was hard to find somebody who was relatively fit and could wear a tank top and look good. So I fulfilled both those roles. So they were fired up, and I went up there about 6 times. And, little one-offs, they didn't really amount to anything. A lot of them were instructional videos, so nobody saw them. Hey, we're going to spend an hour and a half putting this piece of crap together. Yeah, let's do it, And then, then I met Carl. I met Carl through a mutual friend, and we just hit it off. Carl Deichel, the CEO of Beachbody. He was just a funny, ambitious, smart, cool dude. He was such a great.
And how long ago was that again? How many years was that?
1997 or 98.
Okay,
like
wow, so this is a while ago.
This is before Beachbody was a thing. Okay,
right.
So we did. He was working for Guthrie Renker, and he was doing infomercials for at-home LASIK eye surgery, stuff like that. And hey, get a laser, pop your eye, you'll see the moon. And so whatever, like pantyhose that don't run when mixed martial arts fight. It's like stuff he hated.
Impressive.
And he wanted to do fitness, so we were training, we were working out together, we were going to ski trips together, we were just hanging out, And he said, I kind of like your style and your technique and your look and blah blah blah, and I want to do this thing called Great Body Guaranteed, and I've got like $15. And we did it on the down and dirty. We actually ran out of money. Had to go out to the beach in the morning without a permit and shoot some of these things in the fog with Debbie Siebers. It was such a trip. But investors saw it and thought it was different, and they said, what's your next thing? And then Carl, talked about Power 90, and he said, what do you think that would look like? And so I spent some time piecing that together. And he said, can you take those routines that you do with Springsteen and Tom Petty and Billy Idol with all that equipment, and can you develop something that in front of a television set where you don't need a treadmill and a heavy bag and all, and a bench press and all that. I said, hell yeah, you're going to pay me money, I'll figure it out. And I did. And Power 90 changed. Power 90 was the tipping point that changed, that built the company, that made the company.
Yeah.
And then Debbie had her little run. It was basically Debbie Siebers and I. And then I think Shalene came in next, and then Sean T. And then P90X hit the market, and I didn't have to live in my 3-bedroom apartment with a view of the convalescent home anymore. Which was awesome.
I think that the coolest thing to that is just seeing you guys capture really the home fitness market from such an early standpoint. To see what you guys have blown it up into now is just mind blowing.
Yeah, because there was nothing like it prior. At that time, there were these crappy pieces of equipment that you would buy, and they would always have, some slick paid spokesperson be the host. And in the background, there'd be half-naked women, doing this piece of crap. And it fooled some of the people some of the time. And then most people realized it was just a gimmick.
Well, I think prior to you, all you had was Tybo or the Gazelle. Those were the two things.
That's exactly right. And not to say that Tybo wasn't a bad product. I mean, Billy Blanks had done something different. And then the Gazelle was, lean forward, lean back, close your eyes. You know what I mean? Drink.
Yeah, there's your variety.
Yeah, there's your variety. I mean, like, what? And be no different. It's the same thing as a rowing machine. Now Jillian Michaels sells this, works with NordicTrack and sells this treadmill that you walk up on an incline, and it's better than smoking crack. Okay. I'll give you that. But it's just the same repetitive thing over and over again. And so if you're a robot person and you eat really well, then you'll get in some kind of condition doing that if you turn up the speed and get the incline up and that kind of a thing. Yeah. But Carl's vision and my vision was, let's create a ridiculously amount of exercises with tons of variety, working a lot of muscles, sometimes a lot of the same muscles. If you look at core synergistics, for example, you know what I mean? It's like lunge, lift, press, curl, squat, have sex with a stranger.
That was in the original one. It didn't make the cut, though.
The attorneys didn't like that.
That's true. Didn't like that.
But just common sense, almost boot camp like stuff. Wow, that's a phone call coming in. That's actually Marisa Edwards from Beachbody, but we're gonna get rid of that.
No, hey, join her on the call. Let's go,
Marisa. I got a big shoot tomorrow actually for a new product coming out that I can't tell you about. But if I did, I'd have to travel to your cities and kill you.
That's fine.
Talk about that later.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that, but do talk about it after.
Question. Question about when you started working with Beachbody, for example, with like Power 90, and I guess into like 10-minute trainer, were you still doing kind of personal training on the side, or at that point were you kind of fully committed to Beachbody?
No, contractually I was allowed to still do that, and if there were windows, I would do it. But I didn't have any early on. When I didn't realize that things were going to blow up as big as they did. Yeah, I still had my training business. I mean, during Great Body Guaranteed and even Power 90, I was still training Tom Petty and Billy Idol and Springsteen when he came to town, and a few other people, because I had a regular client Monday, Wednesday, Fridays that came to my house. Actually, the guy Ben Vandebunt, who was the CEO of Guthrie Renker, who introduced me to Carl, I had him up till maybe 4 years ago. He was the one guy that I kept training, and I do one-offs once in a while. Like if somebody calls my wife Shauna, who you guys been working with, hey, can I do a one-off with Tony? It's my husband's 40th, 50th birthday party, birthday. Can I come out to California? And we tell them how much it costs, and 99% say, wow, okay, no. And then every once in a while people say yes, and I think, all right, let's do it. And those sessions are usually, 2 hours plus, so I give people 2 hours, because there's sort of an analysis about where they are, where they've been, what their goals, what their expectations are, you know what I mean? And then we talk about diet quite a bit. My philosophy about diet. I'm writing a book right now about it. So we talk about that at length. And then there's a workout, which isn't really a workout because there's about 1,000 of them. So it's not like we put a bunch of workout names in a hat and pull one out. Mm-hmm. We'll do a little X2. We'll do a little bit of yoga. It's really sort of a breakdown about their form and their function and what their endurance looks like, and just so that they're getting the most out of the workouts down the road. And then, I'll sign anything they want. The hardcores, X2s, X3s, headshots. I'll sign a copy of my books. They walk away with a big goodie bag. So I think it's worth the price. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have said, that's the most expensive gift I've ever given my spouse, but he or she is out of their mind, because they pretty much come away with knowing as much as I know. Now it's just about application for them. So yeah, I had a guy in Hawaii that I would fly out. He'd fly Sean and I out, put us up at the Kona. We had a 2-day minimum, and the price was, I didn't want to go out to Hawaii. I was super busy, and he said, "Just give me the price," and I gave him the price, which was so astronomical that I thought he would say, "Oh my gosh,
there's no way."
Yeah, and the next day he went, "When do we start?" And I went, "Oh, whatever the hell you want, man."
So
funny how that works.
So let me, Tony, ask you something more on your personal fitness journey, because you always look in such great shape for the videos, and you do keep yourself in great shape because you post lots of pictures and videos, and you're very active on social media. But how about not from the very, very beginning where you said you just started lifting weights, but your own fitness journey? Because I know you've had like a shoulder injury, I believe, right?
That is correct.
What have the ups and downs been on your own personal fitness journey? Because everyone thinks that, that person had it easy because they had all the time in the world to work out, and that's why they look so good and everything. But what are some of your realities that you've had to deal with over the years?
Well, early on I was kind of winging it, and because I was young and I had a pretty good metabolism, and your body responds more readily when you're at a younger age. It's easier to build muscle in your 20s than it is your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. It gets harder every decade, and so I could kind of wing it, like I think a lot of guys do. They just pump iron and they'll go in the gym and lift, and they'll do maybe a little bit of cardio, and they walk around and go, yeah, look at me. I hope I get a date, And but the diet thing was completely, I didn't know or care. I just ate whatever because I was poor, So I ate, I would try to get up by 10:30 to catch that McDonald's Egg McMuffin. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's the kind of life I had until I started training people at 5 o'clock in the morning. Everything's changed, But when I first came out to California, it was sort of like, I'm at the gym and I want to meet girls and I want to go to cardio and I want to lift some weights. And some weeks I would go 5 days a week, and some weeks I'd go 2, and it was really inconsistent. And I noticed something. At least I can reflect back and realize that a lot of my level of productivity and my moods were dictated by the lack of consistency or the fact that I wasn't consistent. I didn't realize that the physical was affecting the mental and emotional. I didn't understand the science behind that. I do now, and I talk about it all the time. And so I was kind of all over the place. Like I was almost manic as a result of exercising. Before I was just sort of miserable in general. and then I was like really happy, and then I was miserable in general again because of the lack of consistency. So I didn't have any injuries early on. I mean, I had some pulled muscles, and I didn't have any knee issues. I had some lower back stuff and sciatica that I think the average person who doesn't do yoga, who doesn't foam roll, who doesn't look at flexibility and rest and relaxation and hydration, people who are like just kind of winging it, drinking Dr. Pepper and working out. So I had a lot of those early things. But then as I was building my repertoire and as I was becoming more efficient in various categories like martial arts, I'm no black belt or anything, but as I was functioning more, like when you look at P90X2 is sort of one of the high points in my career as far as general knowledge when it comes to how you get fit as opposed to how you get cardiovascular strong or how you get big. I'm just shocked about how many dudes still want to be big for whatever reason, which is so hard to sustain. With every passing year, it's harder and harder and harder, and there's more cheating, and they start throwing steroids and HGH and steroid stuff, and you go, okay, well, tick-tock, something's going to tear, something's going to bust. Yeah. Some cancer is going to rise to the surface. So I never did that. And then I learned a lot more about nutrition and supplementation. I take like maybe 35 pills a day.
Do you seriously?
Yeah, easily. Jack LaLanne took about 100 a day. He was just constantly throwing back vitamins and stuff. I do a multivitamin, one that we make, and then I do a lot of additional stuff, CoQ10, ginkgo, DHEA, something for my thyroid. It's like you kind of, I go to an endocrinologist every 6 months, and I get full blood work, top to bottom, and I get, my vitamin D is low, my vitamin C is off, I need more. My potassium is too high, right? And they can, look, my testosterone is high, but my free testosterone is low. So you just make dietary adjustments, you make supplement adjustments. But to really get back to your original question. Yeah, I tore my biceps tendon. One day I was just feeling like an ox in the gym. Just felt really good. So I thought I would do these iron cross push-ups on rings with my feet on a stability ball, and with my oops. So, I look like Tom Cruise who came out of the ceiling with wires, but I had no freaking wires. So my right arm said, "I'm out," and just popped off.
Wow.
What I mean? And and then the shoulder is just chronic. I think a lot of that has to go back from when I was a kid and I was playing, football and baseball, and I would, I'd walk out on a 32-degree day and I tell my buddy to go long. You know what I mean? I got you. Wow. Why does my arm feel paralyzed right now? Because it's ice cold. I didn't warm up, and I threw a football as far as I could, and I did that 50,000 times. And so I have, right now I'm dealing with 20% torn labrum, 2 bone spurs, arthritis, and bursitis. Yay! Wow. But right. The yoga and the rehab and the foam rolling. I mean, right now I'm doing, on Tuesday I did 12 sets of handstands, averaging about 50 seconds to a minute each. And shoulder felt super stable, and so knock on the wood, man. The shoulder's better than ever. I've been dealing with plantar fasciitis for 2 years, and all the foam rolling and all the ice baths. It's just something was wrong. I thought I had a massive bone spur in there, but I went to see this doc last week who did some unbelievable work on me. I nearly hit the ceiling. They could hear me in the waiting room, The doc said, "Oh yeah, all right, everybody, it's gonna be okay," But
It's good.
But just grinding into that foot and that heel, and it's felt better than it has in 2 years. It's so awesome.
You see, I think the funny part about that is, you look at a guy, you got Tony Horton, the face of P90X, and everyone's sitting here, at least from an outsider's perspective, thinking this guy's got his his shit on lock. Like, I'm sure he probably feels amazing, wakes up with like a ton of energy. You're just like every other guy, normal dude. This stuff happens. This stuff pops up, right? And I thought it was interesting in your last book, The Big Picture. You just said if you could do any workout going forward, I believe you said yoga would be your go-to, right?
Absolutely. Yoga and P90X is the glue to the whole thing. If you skipped the yoga and P90X, you didn't get the benefits from all the other exercises, all the other routines. Yeah. You didn't get the benefits from the entire program. If you did do it, you were able to perform not only better at yoga at the end of 90 days, but you were able to perform better in plyo and mixed martial arts and anything that had to do with balance and strength and flexibility. And there's balance, strength, and flexibility in the whole program. And so if you're doing one that works specifically on those things, then of course it's going to help the other things. You know what I mean? But a lot of people don't have patience for the hour and a half. They figure like, you got to be either a homeless person or somebody who's got so much money you don't have to, somebody feeds you 3 meals a day. But, for the rest of us, you make the time because you understand how important it is. But then P90X3 came along and said, hey, you're still going to get tremendous benefits from a half an hour of a very similar type of a routine. It's just prioritizing and looking at it and not being so stringent and keeping your expectations down, enjoying the journey and trying to be patient, understanding that this is all part of transition, all part of evolving. This is part of life. You know what I mean? I mean, if you can either just survive like everybody else or you can thrive and kick ass. So, and with all that, yeah, I'm going to tear my biceps tendon. Yeah, I'm going to have sciatica. Yeah, I'm going to have a neck tweak. It's just whatever. So you get PT. You take your supplements, you hydrate, you get your 8 hours of sleep, and you're a warrior. You're either a warrior or you're a turd. I don't know which one of those two things you want to be, but warriors, have aches and pains and whatnot, and you get used to it, and it's actually you feel like I don't like having a funky knee or a funky foot. I mean, I had both my knees because I was I'm jumping off of 5, 10, 15, 20. I jumped off a 40-foot cliff and. Up in BC, outside of Kamloops, Blue River, Mike Wigley's heli skiing thing. And so, you jump enough cliffs and you're 50 plus your knees go, what? And so you talk to the experts and you go to the best knee guy and he pulls out your blood and he spins it and you get those platelets. And then he injects them back into your knee with a little Synvisc or whatever it is and 3 treatments like that. And my knees feel awesome again, So the synovial fluid in there went from liquid to jello, like it's supposed to, like that of a 20-year-old. And you just figure this crap out and you do it because you want to ski hard and you want to mountain bike and you want to rock climb and you want to look back at your life and go, yeah, I did those things. I did those things. I didn't just watch reruns of I Love Lucy the whole flipping time,
Well, because you're what? You're 58?
58, yeah.
So, for 58, you're doing pretty damn good, man. I'm just saying.
I think so. I did, like I said, 12 sets of handstands on Tuesday. I did 6 sets of bicep curls, 6 sets of triceps, and then I strip setted biceps. So 24, 5, 6, 7, 8, 29 sets on Tuesday. And I'm not really sore today. I did plyo on Monday, which I hadn't done in almost 3 weeks because of travel and skiing. And it's going to take me 5 minutes to get out of this seat I'm in right now after we're done. But you know what I mean? Well, I love the fact that my legs are sore, my butt is sore. Yeah. It means that there's change happening. Change is good. And that means that muscles are broken down and now they're spending that time to figure out how to grow back together better. And after the age of 26, 27, 28, you're not, that's it. It's like, that's when you start dying. Your body starts dying. Your organs start aging. But exercising, eating right, and meditation and yoga and hydration, those are how you rejuvenate your whole, from the hairs on your head to your toenails. That's how you do it. If you don't exercise, you don't eat right, you don't meditate, you don't drink enough water, you're living on fucking scotch. And did I just say the F word?
No, we can bleep that out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, bleep that out. I meant freaking.
Oops.
Yeah. We have an inside joke about scotch.
I was going to say, I don't remember exactly which routine or what it was, but you mentioned something one time, and I've had to kind of deal with some injuries here and there, but you figure out ways to work around them. Like you said, and I think it was, if your lower's not doing so good, work the upper and vice versa. So sometimes you just have to figure out ways to, still stay active or still be able to make things happen without, just totally giving up because, some particular body part's not in the best of condition, basically.
Yeah. I mean, when I shattered my right kneecap, it didn't keep me from working my other leg and my other upper body. When I tore my biceps tendon, I had 2 good legs and another good arm. I mean, I went to yoga with a sling on my arm. It's like, how do you do downward dog with a sling on your arm? With one arm. That's how you do it. You know what I mean?
Impressive.
What's the big deal? Just just figure it out. And my doctors would always say, okay, you can't do anything for 6 to 12 weeks. Yeah, okay. Like I had oral surgery a couple weeks ago, nothing for 7 days. So I did shoulders and arms the next morning, whatever. And I worked out every day. They told me not to, but I backed way off, right? I wasn't going to pump a bunch of blood into my face. I know what I can do. I know what I can regulate. And what it does, it just makes you more durable. It makes you less vulnerable. And you're not like everybody else. You do become a certain form of superhuman, because everybody else is at sort of this baseline, right? Where they're just getting up and they're going to work and they're eating cereal like they're 9 years old and they're getting in traffic, and then they drink a bucket of coffee to stay awake, and then they come home and they kiss their wife and their kids and they go to bed and repeat, and on the weekends they watch the ball game and drink 2 6-packs of beer, and then they're dead way before their time. They have no history that says they kicked ass, and
that sounds pretty standard.
Yeah, really standard. There's people who survive. That's 90% of people, and then there's the thrivers. Like Laird Hamilton, or Kelly Slater, or you think of the people who are the best of the best. You think of football players. Like I'm watching the Lakers last night play the Grizzlies, and there's Vince Carter. Vince Carter was born in 1977, and the kid on the line shooting the basket, I forget his name for the Lakers, was 19. Vince Carter's 40. 40. So, there's a lot of players that are done at 32, 33. They're old men. And so, it really depends. I mean, and what happens is you feel like you're on an island and nobody else is there to join you. And that is the case, unless you get the tribe. Unless, like you guys, it sounds like the three of you've created this really fun opportunity for, to interview me and guys that are almost funny like Joel Freeman.
I hope he hears this.
And others. Right, because you care about this is a subject matter that as a Beachbody coach, there's so many areas in which you're improving your life, not only physically but mentally and emotionally, nutritionally, financially, right? And so you get this platform where you can actually spread the word. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and I think for the guys that are listening to this, and sorry, Chris, I'll let you get to the next one, but you brought up a good point in the last book. It's just ask yourself 3 questions regardless of where you are, and if you can answer those honestly, then you're good. And it's number 1, am I making progress? 2, am I fulfilled? And 3, am I still loving it? And then if you can answer those honestly and you feel like you're at a good place, then keep rocking it out.
Yeah. I mean, in my new course that's coming out with Brendan Bouchard, actually, it's super exciting because, a lot of people don't read anymore, right? I read all the way through your book. Really? Did you? Holy smokes. You're one of 15 people that I've met, the idea here is that, the world is changing. The way we get information is changing. Everything is online. I mean, look at BOD, right? You can, you can work out in your bathtub with your phone. You know what I mean? Oh, didn't know that was an option.
That's
like I did, yeah. With a wetsuit on. Why not? And but I posted a thing for BOD where I'm working out in my flip flops with my 2 dogs. You can't do that at the local gym. So things are changing. And the reason why I came up with this, I call it the 5 secrets to gain incredible success and living large in all areas of your life, And so if anybody is listening in, it's on Tuesday, January 10th at 6 p.m. Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern. It's just Brendan and I talking about, about life and about the things that I've done in my life and how I've gotten to this point. And if you want more, you can go to my website at TonyHortonLife.com and actually sign up for the course. And a lot of coaches, this is so perfect for coaches who feel like, yeah, I'm an emerald, but whatever. I have friends of mine that are like 8 stars and don't have to work for the man anymore. What are they doing that's different than me? And I think there's a lot of information in there that'll help people just, it's about work ethic, and it's about a plan, and it's about being consistent, and it's about being not being attached to the outcome. And it's about, making sure that you notice that you're progressing, that you're improving, that that life is getting better. And most people assume after, 30, 35, 40 that it all goes downhill to some degree, when it's just the opposite of that. It can be awesome. I mean, I know I go to this ski camp I did for several years up at Grand Targhee, on the other side of the Grand Tetons around the corner from Jackson Hole. And I'd see this group in their 80s, like these, this one guy was 85, just, and he's not ripping like we are, but God, he was moving well and skiing well, and most people are just done. I mean, I have friends in my 50s who just go, man, I can't believe you go heli skiing. It just seems impossible. And I said, well, there's you were a great skier in your 20s and 30s, and now you can't even conceive enjoying this amazing thing. And that's sad. I hate to see that, but it doesn't have to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's not get Brendan Bouchard confused with Brendan McCauley, because I'm gonna have people calling me up and be like, "Oh, you're doing that interview with Tony. I can't wait to hear about it." And be like, "No, dude, wrong person, wrong website."
We'll actually we'll make sure we create a link in the show notes, Tony, so that people can just click right through and get to that.
Yeah, great. So that way I don't have to say tony.growth.com/Tony OPT. Yeah, like anyone's going to listen to this and write that down.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get you taken care of. Well, I want to talk about a little bit how, you mentioned your dad being in the military, and I know that's kind of something that you really have a passion about, and you've worked on who knows how many military bases and military outfits across the globe. And I know the newest program that you had, 22-minute hardcore, was kind of obviously based on that premise of your connection with the military. Let's just talk a little bit about how that kind of came about and how you were able to kind of evolve your experience with the military into a workout program like that.
Well, it was somewhat serendipitous, really, when you look back at it. That was never on the radar for me. But then again, it was never on the radar for me to be a fitness guru either. But life will just, send you in different directions based on your ability to open doors or not. And so I had heard, over and over again, stories about various commanders in all around the country, all around the world, that were using P90X with their men and women in uniform. And one in particular was Stephen Shepro. At that time, it was Colonel Stephen Shepro, and he was using P90X with a lot of his guys in Afghanistan and Iraq. I think he got kind of went back and forth between those two. And, he would just, clear out a tent, and a bunch of people would do it. And then he ended up at Andrews Air Force Base outside of D.C., where the president's helicopters, Marine One and the president's plane are. It's a pretty cushy gig, actually. But he still, he tore down 4 tennis courts. He turned the whole thing into a P90X zone, And so my cousin worked in D.C. I think they had the same barber or something. And so my cousin calls me up and said, "Hey, Colonel Shepard would love to, have you come train his guys over at Andrews." And, I didn't hesitate. And it was just awesome to work with the men and women, like 400 of them lined up in perfect little rows. Like, wow, usually people are kind of scattered all over the place putting out cigarettes, but fine, this is cool. And little exaggeration there. And it was really, really fun. And so, they said, "Would you be interested in doing more of this?" And I said, "Hell yeah." And, well, let's set up a meeting at the Pentagon. And there's a department of the Pentagon called AFE, which is the Armed Forces Entertainment. It's like another, it's like the Pentagon's version of the USO. Okay. And they said, "Well, let's look at some dates." And I was heading to Italy for a yoga retreat one year with Ted McDonald. I think it was one of our first ones we ever did together. And he said, we got 3 bases out there. We've got Aviano, Vicenza, and Camp Darby, which is our Army base. And would you like to do that? So we did our yoga retreat, and then we finished off with those 3, and it was awesome. And I guess the response was really great. And so we kept going. And so I've been to Japan twice, up and down.
Nice.
I've been to Korea. I've been to Kosovo. I've been all over Europe. I've been to Slovenia. I didn't even know that was a place, but it is.
We have bases in Slovenia.
Dude, we have bases everywhere.
Our bases have bases, Chris.
Our bases. The only places we don't have bases are Russia and China. We've got bases everywhere else. We have bases in India. Dude, wow. We are, seriously, like there's stuff that, you go to, I've been mostly Air Force bases. The Air Force just loves me. I was with General 3-star General Burt Field at Kadena Air Force Base, and that's when I flew in the F-16.
That story's phenomenal, by the way. I was rolling when dude, that was great.
Yeah, I rewrote that story 3 times. I wanted that to be as visual for people as possible. But it's just been fun. The last one I did was about a month ago. I was with the Air National Guard, and I was in Utah, and I did a workout for a bunch of the airmen and their families, and then I went up to Deer Valley, and I did a workout with with some young kids with PTSD that had come back from Afghanistan and Iraq, working on, just letting them know that if they're consistent with their fitness, they're gonna have a better shot than if they're not, And so, and these opportunities are great. I work with Susan Lucy domestically. We did a tour a couple of years ago with Mark Briggs and Joel Cinema and Alice Payne, Alice in Wonder Plank. And we did a little California, because there's, California's loaded with bases. You got Vandenberg and Edwards and stuff, so they're right up the road. And it was, I get asked all the time. And I get asked, I've been to the Pentagon 3 times. And so I never, in the 70s, it was like you did whatever you could to get out of serving, you know what I mean? And there was no draft at that time. I was like there isn't now, but I was right at that point where, I was probably 13 when the draft ended. And then, so it just wasn't something, we were too busy, throwing up the peace sign and smoking pot as opposed to, going off to war. Mm-hmm. But I always felt really guilty about it. I always felt like, geez, what the discipline of boot camp and whatnot and that experience. And so that's the reason, like once the Italy tour kicked in, I try to do at least 1 or 2 a year. And it's time to do another European or Asian tour. Because you go to Japan, you're on Uncle Sam's dime. Of course, you're not staying in the highest quality places, and you're back, you're 15 hours in coach isn't always a lot of fun, but you just feel like, hey, we're all here together. We're having this adventure. It's super exciting. You're shaking hands with generals and colonels and people who basically run the planet, militarily. And it's awesome. And so, we went down to Camp Pendleton, which is a Marine base down just north of San Diego. And we kind of spoke with them. We were kind of in the middle of developing 22-minute hardcore. And we talked to a lot of the higher ups there. And after spending some time with them and doing some more research, we thought, well, what should this thing be? And 22 minutes was just, Carl wanted 20 minutes, and 22 is my favorite number. And of course, it's also sort of an homage to the 22 men and women who commit suicide every year in this country that have served our nation. And so we loved it.
It seemed like a good fit.
It just did. And it was time, especially after my relationship with the military, after the fact that my father was in the military, in our research down at Camp Pendleton, and people were just screaming for something like this. And so
I will say my girlfriend thinks you look very distinguished with the beard in that. Just to throw that out there.
And by the way, I think I've only shaved it off once since,
Really?
Yeah, I shaved it off for my wedding, and I shouldn't have. And my wife loves it. My wife loves it, and it covers up all my aging skin, so it's awesome.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, like Joel Freeman doesn't have to worry about that yet. His skin is so it's so fresh and pristine and perfect, but time will kick his ass. Just like
give him another 28 years. We'll see how that game plays out.
He's gonna look like crap.
Oh Jesus,
Tony, which program out of all the ones you've done was your most favorite for creating? Which one gave you the most fun? X2?
X2.
Just big self-satisfaction?
X2, the one that got away, man.
Yeah, I to this day, that is still my all-time favorite program, Tony. So I try and tell everyone that this is the program they should be doing. No one listens to me, but
You know what? With that being said, shout out to Wayne, because he's the one who kind of got us started, and the fact that he was in there with you doing it was it pulled the whole thing together. Was awesome.
Wayne Wyatt.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Wayne is such a naturally gifted super beast. That guy, man.
He's a freak.
He just sits there and looks at pie and gets more ripped. I don't know.
Oh, we interviewed him too. So if you're gonna rip on anybody, rip on him, and then we'll let him listen to it as well.
No, I see no way to rip on him. The guy is like the perfect person. I couldn't. He's just too much of a stud. But yeah, the reason being is because it's all that proprioceptive stuff. It's a pure athletic skill-based program like no other. And people, P90X was hard enough, but you could sort of master most of the moves fairly early on. With P90X2, there are moves that even 3 months in, you can't do a single rep. And that's frustrating for people, but that's how you get better. That's why I have a pegboard in my backyard. I have a 17-foot rope in my backyard. That's the reason why I have a slack line and parallel bars in my backyard. That's why I have 3-foot plyo boxes in my backyard. Because if you move in ways that are super dynamic, that are really complicated, that take a long time to learn, and you understand that is the fountain of youth, because it's about speed, balance, and range of motion, and it's not about being big and burning fat doing cardio. And we, unfortunately, thank God, Beachbody lets me still do it my way. You know what I mean? I mean, it's frustrating to look out in the market. I mean, I'm not going to throw anybody out under the bus, but you know what I mean? It becomes too much about marketing and being sexy and all that bullshit. You know what I mean? And sure, if you want to cater to people who care about their egos and what other people's opinions are about them and what the numbers on the scale and tape measure say and the reflection in the mirror, that's most people. And so, I'm glad we're the one company who, allows me, for example, just to say, hey, let's make people fit and athletic and injury free.
So Tony, let me segue into that. And just a real quick question. So I'm going to be teaching my first P90X live class this Saturday, which I'm super stoked about. How does your P90X and X2 and X3 translate into a program like this? Because I think there's a misconception that people see this on TV. They think it's super hard, that they can't do it. It's too tough, too challenging. What is your viewpoint on the actual live class and how that translates into your normal average Joe who wants to be healthy and fit?
Is that you, Chris, or Brendan?
No, sorry, that's Brendan.
That's Brendan. I just didn't hear a Canadian accent, so I knew it was one of you two guys. Dude, it's a delivery system. It's your personality. It's your persona. How do you think P90X sold 7 million copies? Because of muscle confusion, because of a really nice set, because we cast great people. Yeah, those were part of it. But it was, hold on, let me get my left hand around to the back of my shoulder and yes, I'm patting myself while I tell you how awesome I am. It's the teacher. Like, why are some yoga classes empty and why are some packed mat to mat? It's always the instructor. It's always the sequences. It's always the way in which you transcend the essence of what it is that you're trying to do. And so, channel me, dude, and you'll be just fine. You don't have to don't smash your face or pterodactyl backing out of trouble or the world's greatest Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. It's impossible to be able to do what I do. Right? But, you have to have some humility. You have to have, you got to make it fun. Because, by the way, I don't know if you've heard, exercise sucks, okay? It's just
you heard it from the man. Exercise sucks. That's
it. Exercise sucks. It sucks. Oh yeah, let me go do plyo, or let me go do yoga for an hour and a half. And there's some masochistic bastards that just they love to get in there and just destroy themselves, and they come out and they eat bullets for breakfast. That's a very small percentage. Most people are like, oh my God, after junior high school gym class, I'm finished. So you have to be able to be somebody who inspires, motivates, and educates. Yeah. All right. And if you can do that, Brendan, and just back to basics, modify. You've got to show people 3 ways to do an exercise. You've got to show up. Here's the standard way if you're kicking ass. Here's the way that is, modified version of that, and here's the beginner's way. And you have to be very clear and succinct, and you have to keep pounding it into their head to not compete with the people to their left, to their right, and in front of them. Forget about them. They're doing it their way. Do not get caught up in the collective energy. You need to focus on yourself, because this has got to be a fun experience so you come back again. And if you feel crushed, overwhelmed, and I have been to 2 classes in my life, even after doing what I've done, and people have seen my stuff, where I don't get that. I don't get that. You know what I mean? I don't want to throw people under the bus, but there's still a lot of people going, push harder, do more, lift bigger, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like, what is your body worth to you? I don't know. Why don't you let me take a freaking break here for a second, bro? Can I hit the pause? No, I just feel like I'm, and you just want to make sure that you do it that way.
It's a fun community, not a torture center.
Yeah. But you have to know, you're part trainer, you're part mentor, you're part muse, you're part therapist. You know what I mean? You have to be all of these different things, and you have to be able to read a room pretty quick. I did stand-up comedy for 2 years, so you don't do the dick jokes at the convalescent home. You know what I mean?
You can try.
No?
You can try, but usually people in their 80s usually don't go for that. They want to hear jokes that are about grandchildren or something. And you don't talk about your newborn kid on the college circuit. They want you to talk about, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's just you have to be able to read the room. And so some people, you look around and you can go, okay, here are the chargers over here. Here are people who are way in the back and have that, deer in the headlights look. And so you got to sort of say, hey, right, you guys, I know you can do more. Pick it up. Hey, hey, Alan in the back, dude, you're pushing too hard. I need you to back off a little bit. Don't feel like you don't have to lose all the weight here in one workout. Just, be cool. You're going to be fine. Just come back tomorrow. I want you to come back tomorrow. And if they hear those words from you, that kind of encouragement from you, oh my God, dude, you will be a hero. You'll be a hero. You'll be doing it on a football field with 2,000 people before you know it.
Yeah.
Duly noted.
Advice.
Awesome.
Great advice.
So because we're almost out of time, but before we show everybody or tell everybody how to connect with you, Tony, what can you quickly tell us that besides working with Brendan Burchard, what are you working towards in 2017? What are your goals?
Well, one thing I did learn from Brendan was don't do too much. I think so many, especially in my position where, people kind of know who I am and they're trying to find me and they'll say, hey, I got $1 million idea. And you get, literally 3 or 4 of those a week. And so I say yes to everything. And I have a bunch of meetings and I fly all over the country and I discovered that they're full of crap. You know what I mean? So I had a mouth guard thing, didn't work. Home food delivery thing, THCare didn't work. So 7-Eleven was going to put my food in their stores, didn't work. I had an insole thing, didn't work. 5 TV pilots failed. Every one of these things is an attorney fee at $450 an hour. I could have bought another house for all the projects that went south. But right now in 2017, I just want to make sure that we get the 22-minute hardcore show up and out to the world because the product rocks. We had 1 million downloads on BOD. That was months and months ago. So there's, hundreds of thousands more. I mean, it was the #1 downloaded program in all of Beachbody for 2 straight months.
That's awesome.
It's such a, if you do it and you work on the form and you get through those damn gorilla crawls, burpees. It's just in knowing how to do everything right and paying attention to my cueing. You'll get sick results. We just want to get that out to the general public. And then there's another project that I'm doing with Beachbody. Actually, I have a shoot for it tomorrow. I'm super excited. I don't even know if it's going to be ready for Summit, to be honest with you. We had to move the date up for November. I don't know, whatever.
So we are expecting a new something from Tony Horton.
A new something. Something from me in 2017 that is
awesome.
It is not P90X4. Okay, that brand. Okay. You know what I mean? Like how many Rocky movies do you want to see? You know what I mean? Like, Rocky 30.
We stopped at 18.
Rocky's ghost takes on the ghost of Gandhi. Rocky kicks Gandhi's ass. Ghost. And so those are the 2 things that see funnier than you, Joel. Don't you ever forget it, buddy.
And you're working on a book, or you're finishing up the book?
No. Well, I'm working on a cookbook right now. Early stages. I'm interviewing some people, and that I can tell you about because it's the working title is Nourish, finding ways to make sure that you get the best quality foods in your body, whether they be paleo, whether they be vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian. We're going to interview all the experts. We're going to have a bunch of really quick, easy recipes in there. And we're just going to kind of look at food as sort of a one size does not fit all. And here are your choices. And don't be afraid to change the way you eat over the course of your lifetime. I mean, I was a junk food guy, and then I was a vegan for a while. Then I was vegetarian for a while. And then I met my wife, and now I eat vegan, I eat vegetarian, I eat flexitarian, I eat raw, I eat paleo, I eat pescatarian. I'm going to decline that call too. This is real action, live action, and so there's that. I'm excited about that. I'm interviewing Mark Sisson from Primal. Mark from
absolutely.
Primal Nutrition. He's Daily Apple, such a smart guy. And then on the other end of the spectrum, I'm interviewing, and I'm interviewing them back to back. So one day, and then the following day, the next one is Brendan Brazier. Don't be confused with Brendan Burchard.
Any of the other Brendans.
All the Brendans. I know all the Brendans. They're all the experts.
I feel so popular.
That's right. They're everywhere, dude. There's nothing unique about you, dude. But you are from Indianapolis, which is cool.
No, that's Chris.
That's damn it. Yeah. Chris. All right, crossing that out. So there's the book. Awesome. Yes. Outside of Ottawa, up there, And so I've got the book. I've got that book, and I've got There's great stuff with Beachbody. And then there's TH Care, which maybe you may or may not know about, but it's my hair and skincare line. And we've expanded from 2 products to 3.
Sweet.
It's all, it's an awesome combination of nature meeting science. And so we got all new packaging. I think it's going to appear. Before, the other one was a little bit too masculine. It was black and white. It basically, like when you looked at it, you just wanted to punch somebody. Just too much testosterone in the packaging. And so we're retooling that. And we had a 2-for-1 on Facebook, which you can still do if you go to my Facebook page.
Oh,
you can get a 2-for-1, and we're just super excited. We're the company that I'm working with is more fired up than ever. So we'll get that out into the world. And then last but not least is my course with Brendan. Living large in all areas of your life.
As you come out with this stuff, if there's in like 6 months, 8 months, whatever, if you want to hop back on and just give us an update with everything, I know the guys on our podcast would just love to hear from you specifically, all your success and the endeavors and whatever else. So you're more than welcome. We'd love to have you.
Well, great, man. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot coming up in 2017, and we can always do sort of a "Where are we now?" conversation, and continue talking. I appreciate the offer. I'm glad to do it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Awesome. And we could all chat with you, I think, like hours. But the reality
I
is,
know, I'm so fun.
Yeah,
so much better than Joel Freeman.
Totally. That doesn't get old. Oh, Joel, poor Joel. So, Tony, how quickly before we end, how can people connect with you? Where's the best place for people to see you? Just everywhere, or we are going to provide links in the show notes.
Walk outside of your house, look up into the sky. There I am. No, I'm sorry. That's God. I got confused. Go to TonyHortonLife.com, man. I mean, that's so simple. You just go to my webpage and you can find me there. You can see that I've got a yoga retreat in Jackson Hole between the 8th and 12th of February. If you're a skier, snowboarder, or yoga person, any of the above, you can skip the yoga, do the skiing. You can do the yoga, skip the skiing, whatever it is. So you'll see all my live events. And you'll see what's going on with the course with Brendan. You can buy my book there. You can even buy all my Beachbody products there. And so TonyHortonLife.com.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Right on. That's all the time we have. So, Tony, thank you so much. Just please remember to hang on for a couple minutes afterwards. But thank you so much. We loved every second of this interview. My gut hurts from laughing.
Well, that's what you can skip. You can skip ab ripper now. You don't have to do ab ripper.
There you go.
You're trying to stay quiet in the background and cover up the mic from the laughing and everything. It's just not working. So thank you so much. We very much value and appreciate the time that you've been able to give to us.
Well, Jared from Ottawa, Chris from Indianapolis, and Brendan from a state that'll soon be underwater. I want to thank you all so very much. I appreciate it. You guys rock. That was really fun.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Happy New Year.
All right, so that was absolutely amazing. Okay,
Epic.
how many times did he have to really talk about my accent?
He made it well known that you do indeed have an accent.
Yeah,
He called you out, I think, within the first 5 minutes. He's like, so who's from the northern upper part, maybe Canada, Quebec?
I think
I didn't even think it was 5 minutes. It was like 30 seconds.
Yeah, and I think let's put that on an outtake afterwards, where it was like definitely. Somebody's, northern states or Canada-ish. It's like, yeah, I raised my hand.
Exactly where you were.
Yeah, and also throwing Joel under the bus.
Oh man, so that was one of the things we talked about leading up to the interview. Is like, I wonder how they chat with the other trainers. And it sounds like him and Joel kind of have a bantering between each other, a pretty good working relationship. But Joel, if you're listening to this episode, you pretty much got thrown under the bus.
All right. Now, in all fairness, for after we cut the podcast off, we did not get the part where Tony just said he loves Joel, thinks he's a great, super humble guy.
True.
So,
that's true. To his credit.
To his credit, kudos to Tony. So he does love him, but he also, people don't screw with people unless they love them.
Yeah. And actually, right. I think he said that they're going to be working out tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
now
they apparently get along quite well.
Of course, if Joel wants to come back on to the show and try to be funnier than Tony, he's more than welcome.
That's right.
But
Joel did say he wanted to hop back on, so we'll see how that plays out.
We could just have a ping pong battle here with between Joel and Tony.
All right, that's it. They're getting on together, same show.
Oh my goodness.
So what was your biggest takeaway from the interview, Jared?
From all these interviews, and I might have said this before, but I really like the reality about, no, you don't have to pack on a whole bunch of muscle and have an image thing. And yeah, I've got hurt. I've had to do yoga in a sling, and I'm taking this. I'm watching my thyroid, and I'm actually 58, and I got to take pills, and I got to take. I'm not just some superhuman that works out all the time and eats vegan organic food, and my body's in perfect physical shape. I'm human, and
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much exercise and how good I've eaten, I'm still human. I think that reality that people kind of lose that perception was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah, I agree. What about you?
I say from mine, listening to his recommendations on the P90X live class, and I just talked to another girl on it, and she's like, "Look, as long as you make like a fun community where everyone can just do their own thing, do their best, forget the rest, kind of deal, then that's ultimately what people just want to see. That they're in somewhere where they can be successful, where it's a little tough, a little challenging, but they have a great time. Not some asshole drill instructor that just pushes you way beyond your limits, and you never want to come back." So I thought that was great to hear.
You definitely got some sweet advice on that. So, I mean, yeah.
You can almost replay that before you even start your first class, and you're already going to get like gold and respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just that one part. And
No,
Chris,
for sure.
your favorite part?
I liked hearing about his journey and how he kind of came from, not really being involved in fitness, but it was kind of an identity thing for him, or a little bit of a confidence factor, which I think I can totally relate to, because that's kind of how I got my start as well. It was definitely from a self-confidence or lack of thereof. And even to this day, I'm sure he still experiences that to some extent, in the same way that I do. So definitely hearing how one can overcome all that through the channels and through just fitness in general is pretty cool.
I agree completely. So
Absolutely.
Let's shut this one down, but please, if you enjoyed this podcast, and be sure to download others, check out on iTunes. Take 2 seconds to leave us a review, please. Subscribe so that you get automatic updates for whenever we post a new episode every week. And if you're thinking that you want to join our community, and that's what really it is, because anybody can work out and anybody can eat right, but what the difference is, the community that you join in a gym or in a group workout, the community is what builds you, is what keeps you accountable, helps to pick you back up, helps to boost you up. Come on and join our 2 communities that we have going on with the Fit Men Movement and the Fit Empowered Women. You can check them out on the website. You can email us. You can contact us on Facebook. But come on in, ask some questions if you have it, and just we'd love to have you aboard and be a part of our clique.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are really, really picking up in the groups, and with the new year, everyone is really gung ho, setting some goals, and from what I can tell, on track to crush them. So,
absolutely. Good. All right. Well, let's call it a night, and you boys take care, and let's try to get some sleep after that awesome call.
Try to, yeah, for sure. All right. We'll see you guys later.
9. All right. See ya.
All right. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks for listening to the Fit Men Movement Podcast. Are you ready to take the next step in your health and fitness? Then make sure to go to fitmenmovement.com to sign up for our exclusive private group and online coaching. And remember to subscribe to the Fit Men Movement podcast channel to get updates on new podcast episodes. Thanks for listening.